Humanity knows numerous maniacs, psychopathic killers, and fanatics, but this man is the most insane, inventive, and cold-blooded of all. No one still actually found out how many people he killed, and we still haven't figured out all the ways he tortured his victims. He didn't use a knife or any other conventional weapon for his sick fantasies. Instead, he invented entire mechanisms of death. He was born in Gilmanton, New Hampshire, May 16, 1861, and died in Philadelphia County Prison on May 7, 1896, when he was 36 years old. The person I'm talking about is Henry Howard Holmes. This man gained notoriety as America's first documented serial killer, infamous for his elaborate murder castle during the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. He exploited the fair's influx of visitors to lure victims into his trap-laden hotel, where he committed numerous murders. Holmes' blend of charm, intelligence, and sheer brutality, alongside his gruesome methods of killing and disposing of bodies, cemented his place in criminal history. Holmes displayed a disturbing interest in death from a young age. It is said that he expressed curiosity about human anatomy by dissecting animals, and there were rumors of him being involved in the mysterious disappearance of a childhood playmate. These childhood mental abnormalities may not seem important to you now, but according to statistics, it is a crippling childhood that creates monsters who enjoy the suffering of others. His early years affected the sinister creation that is still associated with the name Holmes. The murder castle of Henry Holmes was a 3-story block-long hotel designed with the sole purpose of executing his murderous schemes. Constructed with a labyrinthine layout, it included over 60 rooms and numerous secret passages allowing Holmes to navigate unseen. The building was equipped with doors that could only be opened from the outside, gas lines to asphyxiate victims, and chutes to slide bodies directly to the basement. This basement served as Holmes' macabre workshop, containing a crematorium, acid vats, and surgical tables, where he dissected bodies for sale to medical institutions or disposed of them entirely. This fortress of horror, disguised as a hotel, played a pivotal role in enabling Holmes' crimes during the bustling World's Fair in Chicago. Holmes himself confessed to 27 murders, but some of his confessions were for people who were found alive later. Investigations could only confirm a handful of victims due to the extensive methods Holmes used to dispose of the bodies. Some estimates speculate that he could have killed as many as 200 people. The true number of victims may never be known. Holmes' methods of luring victims were as varied as his methods of murder. He preyed on the anonymity, targeting single women whom he charmed and then trapped within his deadly hotel. He also ensnared employees and lovers, many of whom mysteriously vanished, their last known whereabouts being the hotel. The exterior of the Holmes Hotel was unassuming, blending with the urban landscape, but its interior was a complex maze meant to disorient and trap. 3 stories tall, with the ground floor housing legitimate businesses, including a drugstore that Holmes operated. This semblance of normalcy masked the horrors that lay above. All guests were always accommodated to the upper floors where the real-life horror took place. Here are some details about what awaited the unsuspecting victims. Soundproof bedrooms that were designed to be completely sealed off from the outside, with soundproofing to prevent any noises from escaping. Some were equipped with gas lines that Holmes could control, allowing him to asphyxiate his victims as they slept. Certain rooms were equipped with trapdoors in the floor, which Holmes would use to drop the bodies directly to the basement. Some of these trapdoors were hidden under carpets or beds. Small hidden observation chambers with peepholes or one-way mirrors, allowing Holmes to look at his victims unnoticed, strategically placed near more nefarious rooms to monitor the effectiveness of his traps or the state of his guests. A bank vault that was installed in one of the rooms was repurposed by Holmes as a gas chamber. He would lock his victims inside and asphyxiate them by filling the vault with gas. It also was discovered a greased chute or slide that ran from the upper floors of the hotel down to the basement. Holmes used it to send the bodies of his victims directly to his workshop below. The castle was full of numerous maze hallways. It was an infinite, bewildering labyrinth intentionally designed to disorient guests. Some hallways led to dead ends, others circled back on themselves, and some doors opened to brick walls, making escape difficult for his victims. Secret passages that were hidden throughout the building and allowed Holmes to move unseen between rooms and floors. They were used for spying on guests and moving about the hotel without detection. The basement, the true heart of horror. It contained Holmes's gruesome tools and facilities for disposing of bodies. This included surgical table, which was used for dissecting bodies, either for experimentation or to sell organs and skeletons to medical schools. Crematorium, a large furnace where Holmes could burn bodies to ash, erasing any evidence of his crimes. Acid vats and lime pits that were used for dissolving flesh and bones, leaving little to no trace of his victims. Secret hanging chamber, a small, hidden room where Holmes is said to have hanged some of his victims. Asphyxiation chambers that could be hermetically sealed, where Holmes would pump in gas to suffocate his victims. Additionally, on the first floor it was discovered Holmes' own office where he managed his affairs. It was rumored to contain a large safe where Holmes kept incriminating documents and valuables stolen from his victims. There is also undocumented information about more rooms taken from the public domain. However, I didn't find any official data confirming these rumors. But still, the list includes the armory, a room where Holmes stored various tools and weapons. This room also might have contained surgical instruments, ropes, handcuffs, and other devices used to restrain or harm his victims. Photography studio. Given Holmes's interest in documenting his deeds, it's plausible there could have been a space dedicated to photographing his victims, either before or after their demise, as a morbid trophy collection. Forgery workshop. Holmes was known for his scams and forgeries. This room was equipped with the tools of the trade for counterfeiting documents, creating fake IDs, and other fraudulent activities. The gallery. A chilling possibility could be a room Holmes used to display personal trophies from his victims, such as personal belongings, photographs, or even preserved body parts arranged in a macabre exhibition. On some forums, people mentioned that this room also was documented, but I didn't find any official confirmation. Henry Howard Holmes was ultimately revealed through a combination of his own overreaching criminal activities and the dogged, investigative work by law enforcement and a determined detective. The unraveling of Holmes' facade began with insurance fraud. Holmes and his associate, Benjamin Pitezel, concocted a scheme to fake Pitezel's death and collect insurance money. Holmes was supposed to find a cadaver to use as Pitezel's stand-in, but instead, he actually killed Pitezel, making the death appear accidental. The insurance company became suspicious and launched an investigation. Detective Frank Geyer of the Philadelphia Police was instrumental in uncovering Holmes's crimes. After Holmes was arrested for the insurance fraud, Geyer started to piece together Holmes's movements across the country, tracing his and Pitezel's family's whereabouts. The turning point came when Geyer, following Holmes's trail, discovered the bodies of 3 of Pitezel's children whom Holmes had murdered. This discovery led to a more extensive investigation into Holmes's activities. As authorities delved deeper, they began to uncover the shocking reality of his crimes in Chicago, including the murder castle, with its elaborate and gruesome methods of killing and disposing of bodies. During the trial, Holmes's demeanor was reportedly calm and collected. He even took the stand in his own defense, maintaining his innocence in the Pitezel case and attempting to charm the jury with his articulate speech. However, the evidence was overwhelming, and Holmes was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to death by hanging. In a bizarre turn of events, while awaiting execution, Holmes confessed to numerous other murders in a series of newspaper articles. Some of these confessions were contradictory, and some involved victims who were, in fact, still alive. It's believed that Holmes' motive for these confessions was partly financial, selling his sensational stories to the press, and partly a final manipulation, casting doubt and confusion over his true crimes. At the same time, he managed to manipulate the media and even penned a memoir while in jail, portraying himself as an innocent man, thus confusing public perception. As you understand, he was quite a controversial person. More than just controversial, in fact. Holmes' execution took place on May 7, 1896, at the Moyamensing Prison, also known as the Philadelphia County Prison. There were rumors and speculations that Holmes had somehow cheated the gallows through bribery or by faking his death, but these were largely sensationalized stories without substantial evidence. After Holmes's death, the murder castle became something of a grim tourist attraction before being gutted by fire in 1895 under mysterious circumstances. The ruins of the building were eventually torn down in 1938. The legacy of Holmes lived on in the form of books, documentaries, and feature films, cementing his place in American criminal lore as one of the most chilling figures in the history of serial murder. His case also marked an early instance of the modern media's fascination with serial killers, setting a precedent for the true crime genre. Henry Howard Holmes is often cited as America's first documented serial killer, but it's important to clarify that he did not necessarily cause a wave of other serial killers in the U.S. Serial killers existed before Holmes and continued to emerge independently of his influence. The phenomenon of serial killing is complex and multifaceted, with various psychological, sociological, and environmental factors contributing to its occurrence. Holmes's notoriety, however, did bring a heightened public and media awareness to the concept of serial murder, which may have influenced how subsequent cases were perceived and reported. Subscribe for more scary videos and press the like button if you enjoyed.